It can be frustrating to fight someone who just constantly turtles, and if their ping is lower, stealing their wall sometimes feels nearly impossible. This can be quite frustrating, but luckily today, we're going to be going over some of the wall phasing techniques, and as well how to steal walls without phasing through them. We'll also touch a little bit on what to do once you actually get the wall. I do want to mention that all of these will work on players with low ping. I was averaging around 25 to 30 ping when I was trying to steal the walls, while Thieves was averaging anywhere from 0 to 4 ping while on the inside of the box. So anything you see in this video will work on most players. But since we're also talking about stealing walls in today's video, I also want to talk about how to stop players from being able to take your walls, and how to play in those defensive situations. These are some of the main points, but we will be covering a lot in today's video. I do want to quickly ask you guys if you do enjoy these videos or my content to like and subscribe, as it helps me create more content for you guys. If you want to support me even further, you can always use code Selage in the item shop. Other than that, let's hop right into the video. Today's sponsor is BEBONCOOL controller. It supports both iOS and Android devices as it connects over Bluetooth connection. Its small and compact design allows for it to be portable and to hold your phone inside safely. It supports a wide variety of mobile games such as Fortnite, PUBG, and many more. But even if your game isn't on the list, you can map each button on the controller to a section of your screen. It also has an 1.5 hour charging time, but you get 12 hours of gaming out of it. Overall, a really solid product, and if you want to give it a try, they're giving away a 25% discount if you use the code on screen. All the links will be down in the description, so go check them out. The first phase trick we're going to look at is one that I think is by far the most consistent. All you're going to do is do a triple floor edit and then make sure you're phasing through the notch that sticks up. All you have to do then is swing at the wall, and after a couple hits you'll easily break through. This won't work unless you're on flat ground, but luckily there is an alternative to this. It's a bit less consistent, but once you get the angle that you should run at, it'll be much easier. You can do this on a flat ground or if you're on a ramp as well, which means this will actually be useful in build fights. Next, we have the flintlock, which is one of my favorites as it sort of launches you forward into the box, which can help with you getting blocked by a ramp, or rather being 200 pumped pretty easily. To do this, all you're going to have to do is get the wall to half health, place a ramp behind you, jump and shoot the bottom of the wall. You'll get launched right through the wall and right on top of your opponent. But remember, phasing through someone's wall can be risky. You never know if they're waiting for you on the other side, or if they have 5 traps with your name on it. So if you do decide to use any of these, be careful and make sure that they're either one shot or they have no traps left. Otherwise, it's probably not going to end up too great for you. There's only one magical way to take walls easy, and that is having low ping. Now, I don't have low ping, and I'm sure most of us don't live right next to the server, sadly. So we gotta find some other ways to steal walls besides from phase tricks and 0 ping. Some of the best ways to take a wall is just by being persistent and protecting yourself as much as possible. Smacking somebody's wall for 5 minutes is probably not going to get you anywhere and most likely get you popped in the head. Some of the best ways to protect yourself is by constantly editing and re-editing ramps or floors to keep yourself protected. This way you can fall down, smack the wall, and then immediately re-edit to protect yourself from someone editing out for a shot. With this, you can also time your editing down to one-shot walls, which sometimes will take your opponent off guard and will allow you to take the wall a lot easier. 2 situations you can use this on is when you have a critical hit on a wall, which is typically when people will be taken off guard since they don't think their wall is one shot. Otherwise, if you're fast enough, once someone edits and re-edits, you can jump down and pickaxe their wall before it's able to gain health back. Just by hitting multiple walls, you can confuse your opponents, but you have to make sure that you're being unpredictable on your swings, and alternating between the two may seem easy enough, but if you're following the same pattern, it's going to be easy to predict. I recommend that if possible to hit 2 different types of builds, for example a wall and a cone. This will make it harder to protect against since they're not going to be sure what you're going to hit next. If you just do walls, swinging between the 2 isn't too hard and they can easily hold both walls. And a great way to do this instead of hitting their cone is using this little trick to be able to hit their floor underneath their cone, as well as being able to hit their wall in a pretty easy way. This will allow you to take their floor a lot easier because they'll be expecting you to be hitting their cone rather than the floor. If you do manage to catch your opponent off guard and they don't see that you take their wall so fast, it's a good idea to use your muscle memory to use little tricks like immediately editing in and placing a ramp, or if there's a floor or a roof that you can place a trap on, you can sneak one in there. Once you do take someone's wall, it doesn't get any easier. Reacting as fast as possible will make sure that you can keep your opponent in a spot where they may not have time to react. And having muscle memory and knowing exactly what you're going to do once you seal the wall is important. For example, if they're one shot, maybe running in and placing a cone so you can quickly follow up is a good idea. Or if there's a floor or ceiling you can place traps on, take advantage of it. One of the best ways to have control over a 1x1 is by placing a ramp inside of their box. This is much better than placing a cone, as you have protection and can choose when to expose yourself in comparison to a cone. And like I mentioned, having that muscle memory of editing in, placing a ramp, and then immediately editing the ramp again will confuse your opponents as they get tossed around in their own box, and allow you to have the upper hand and be able to re-edit it if the first or second shot doesn't get them, and edit down again when the time is right. But make sure that you don't edit them down when they're staring right at you. If you're holding the edit after the first shot and you can see your opponent staring back, try something different, taking their floor and placing a trap, or flipping the ramp around and then re-editing. But whatever you do, just make sure that you're not putting yourself in a position to be shot at in comparison to when you can play more safe. One mistake that basically everyone still makes, including myself, and most of the time it really won't matter, but if you only have one trap, placing it on the floor or roof will guarantee that it hits a player, as the only way they can escape is to either edit out the side fast enough or to break the trap. The reason it's so effective is because even if someone is turbo building a ramp to protect themselves from above or below, the trap is still going to trigger and hit them through their ramp. Two ways I like to use this strategy is if you're in a building or maybe they forgot to place a floor. You can always place a trap on the floor, and I like to shoot their ramp out to make sure they get hit. Otherwise, if it's in my box and someone's trying to break my ramp, I'll place a trap and then quickly edit and reset the edit to keep myself safe and still hit them. One last thing that I want to touch on is scroll wheel reset. I won't spend too much time on it, as this is something I've touched on previously and I feel like it's more of a norm within the community now. But having the ability to edit and immediately reset it before the other person can shoot back is huge in protecting yourself and reducing the damage done to you. Now that we've looked at how to steal walls, let's talk about how to counter someone taking your wall, because you can only hold a wall for so long, and if you're in duos, sometimes you need to take out one enemy before the other can push up. And one of the best ways to do that is by timing your edit to exactly when your opponent swings their pickaxe to hit your wall. This way they'll be defenseless against your edit as long as you're fast enough. And this is where the edit reset comes in handy to make sure you can reset your walls fast enough to block their shots. But going for shots when they may be preoccupied is necessary. If they're saying they're holding their pickaxe, or maybe they're starting to get third partied and build to protect themselves. These are great opportunities to edit out for a quick shot, but make sure that you read the situation right to make sure you're not getting baited. For example, faking a heal like a mini is a great way to bait someone into editing, but reading each situation to make sure it's a good idea to edit out is going to make sure that you stay untouched while being able to put out the most amount of damage. Even if you steal a wall, you still have to hit your shot, but it's not always going to be lined up for you perfectly, and hitting shots with a shotgun isn't always the easiest, especially with the wide variety within the game, and you may not always be blessed with your favorite or even a good shotgun, but working with what you got and adjusting to whatever shotgun you may have been lucky or unlucky enough to get is important. For example, going for a quick edit, shoot, and then reset the edit with a drum shotgun is only going to have you get a 10 tag and have a chance to be hit with basically any other gun for more damage. But if you do manage to get a shotgun that you can take quick shots with, like a pump or a combat, when you edit in on someone, you're not always going to have your crosshair lined up on their head, and you can't take long to aim, otherwise you're going to give them time to aim right back. Going for a quick foot shot and then resetting is going to be your best bet. But these are some of the most hardest shots to hit, as it's going to be fast paced and there's no way to adjust if you mess up. Another good idea I like to keep in the back of my mind is what type of guns my opponent has. If it's early game and maybe the best they got is a burst SMG, hopping into their box is probably not a bad idea. But listening for audio cues is super important, especially if you haven't been able to get up close to the opponent. Because if you hear them pull out a combat, you know not to peek even if you're far away. And if you hear a drum shotgun, you know not to let them anywhere near your box. This may seem insignificant, but at the same time, you have to react to what you hear and adjust to how you approach a fight. Every fight is going to be different, and it's going to require you to approach and make changes to how you typically play to make sure that you're not going to be heading back to the lobby. But of course, if you're looking to practice your shotgun aim, I have two great maps for you guys, but I won't spend too much time going over them. One is built specifically for shotgun aim, and some of the more specific aim courses tailored specifically for shotgun scenarios. The second is my most recent map, which you may have seen, but there's only really one part I'm interested in, and that's the flick shot area. It can be one of the hardest types of aim to train, but it is one of the most beneficial if you do it right and practice it enough. Before we close out today's video, I want to remind you guys to check out BEBONCOOL down in the description, and don't forget to use the promo code for 25% off your order. Other than that, thank you guys for watching today's video. Hopefully you all did enjoy it, and if you did, make sure to follow me over on Twitch. I've been streaming over there, and we'll have a full schedule out soon. Other than that, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more future tips and tricks and tutorials. If you want some more right away, check out the playlist and the videos on screen now for some great ways to elevate your game. Other than that, thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.